Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Cambridge O-Level Physics multiple choice question paper. Course code is 5054, paper 1 version 2, May-June 2021. Let's start the paper. Question number 1. A student determines the circumference of a football. Which instrument gives a reading that is the circumference of the football? The answer is tape measures curved or round lengths like waist of a human, circumference of an arm or circumference of a football. The answer is option D. Question number 2. A coin falls from rest through the air and eventually reaches a constant speed. There is a resultant force acting on the coin due to the two forces P and Q shown in the diagram. What happens to force P and what happens to the resultant force before the coin reaches constant speed? And the answer is the resultant force on the coin is Q minus P. At start, the coin falls with the constant downward force Q equal to its weight, Q is equal to mg. As the coin falls, its downward velocity increases continuously due to g is equal to 10 meter per second square, and as a result the upward force P increases continuously due to increase in air resistance acting upwards. Hence the resultant force Q minus P acting on the coin decreases because Q is constant and P is increasing. Option C is the answer. Question number 3. The diagrams show the forces acting on four identical solid blocks. Each arrow represents a force of 20 Newton. Which blocks are in equilibrium? And the answer is on block P and R, two equal and opposite forces are acting. These two forces are exactly 180 degree out of phase to each other. It means if you put a scale on the figure, then these two forces are aligned on the scale and are also acting in the opposite direction. Answer is option A. A student lists three changes that affect the stopping distance of a car. The answer is the increase in braking force or the increase of friction force between the tires and the road will increase the retardation and will decrease the stopping distance. However, in case of increasing speed of the car, it will increase the stopping distance. So the answer is option D. Question number 5. The diagram shows a satellite orbiting a planet at a steady speed. In which direction does the resultant force act on the satellite? And the answer is any motion in a curved path represents accelerated motion. And for accelerated motion requires a force directed towards the center of the curvature of the path. This force is called the centripetal force, which means center seeking force. D is the gravitational force of the earth that keeps the satellite in the circular orbit. Option A is the answer. Question number 6. The gravitational field strength in space is smaller than on the Earth's surface. A rocket is used to launch a satellite from the Earth's surface into space. How are the mass and the weight of the satellite affected as the satellite moves away from the surface of the Earth and into space? The answer is the weight of the satellite is equal to mass multiplied with the g, and the weight will decrease as the value of the gravitational field strength g near the space is smaller than on the Earth's surface. However, the mass of the satellite remains unchanged. The answer is option D. the mass is unaffected and the weight decreases. Question number 7. Air is trapped in a cylinder by a piston. The piston is moved inwards so that the volume of the air reduces. The density of the air in the syringe at the initial volume is 0.0012 grams per centimeter cube. What is the density of the air in the syringe at the final volume? Okay, the answer is the final volume of the air is 1/2 of the initial volume in the syringe, as can be seen from the figure. We know that density is mass per unit volume, and we also know that mass is a constant physical quantity. So the density of the air is inversely proportional to the volume. So if volume becomes 1/2, then the density will become double. So answer is option C, 0.0024 gram per centimeter cube is the final density of the air. The initial density is 0.0012 gram per centimeter cube. Option C is the answer. Question number 8. Some forces are applied at different distances from a pivot. Which diagram shows the force that produces the largest moment about the pivot? Okay, the answer is, for figure A, the moment is force multiplied with the distance. 50 Newton multiplied with 0.9 meter is equal to 45 Newton meter. For diagram B, the moment is 30 Newton multiplied with 2 meter and is equal to 60 Newton meter. For diagram C, the moment is 80 Newton multiplied with 0.5 meter is equal to 40 Newton meter. For figure D, the moment is 80 Newton multiplied with 3 meter and is equal to 54 Newton meter. The answer is the largest moment is option B, 60 Newton meter. Question number 9. The diagram shows a children's wooden play tower. Which changes to the tower makes it more stable? And the answer is, to make a tower more stable, we have to do two things. Number 1, lower its center of mass, or number 2, make its base area wider. Answer is option C, lowering the center of mass. Question number 10. Where on the graph is the limit of proportionality for an elastic solid? And the answer is, you can see the figure. In the figure, OP is a linear line, whereas PQ is a non-linear curve. Before point P, the elastic solid operates in the linear region and the extension is proportional to the load. After point P, the elastic solid operates in non-linear region and the solid deforms permanently. Before P, Hooke's law is applicable, and after point P, Hooke's law is not applicable. P is the limit of proportionality, and the answer is option B. Question number 11. A weight of 2 Newton is hung from a spring. The extension produced is 6 meter. The 2 Newton weight is removed and an 8 Newton weight is hung from the spring. The spring does not pass its limit of proportionality. What is the new extension of the spring? And the answer is, as the spring operates in the linear region before the limit of proportionality, so if 2 Newton input force produces 6 centimeter extension, then 8 Newton input force will produce 6 centimeter into 4, which is equal to 24 centimeter. It is linear range, so 24 centimeter is the answer, and option B is the correct option. Question number 12. An object is placed at a depth d below the surface of a liquid of density rho. On which expression does the pressure on the object depend? And the answer is, the formula for finding out the underwater pressure is rho multiplied with g multiplied with depth. So underwater pressure depends on the depth and density of the liquid, and the answer is option B. Question number 13. The diagram shows the dimensions of a box of mass m and weight w at rest on a table. What is the pressure on the table due to the box? And the answer is, the pressure is given by P is equal to force over area, where the force is equal to mg. M is the weight, g is the gravitational field strength, the force is W, whereas area is y multiplied with z. So the pressure is W over yz, and the answer is option D. Question number 14. Which graph shows the relationship between the pressure and the volume of a fixed mass of gas at constant temperature? Okay, the answer is, pressure is inversely proportional to the volume of a fixed mass at constant temperature, but remember, volume of a gas cannot become zero. And the answer is option B. Question number 15. The work done by a force F on a body is calculated by multiplying F by a quantity Q. What is Q? And the answer is, we know that work done is equal to force multiplied with the distance, where the distance traveled is in the direction of applied force. The option A is the answer because Q is the distance traveled in the direction of the force. Question number 16. A girl lifts an object of mass 1 kg from the floor and puts it on a ledge 2 meters above the floor. How much potential energy is gained by the object? The gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kg. And the answer is, the mass is 1 kg, height is 2 meter, G is 10 Newton per kg. We know that potential energy is mgh, and the potential energy is 20 joule. And the answer is option D. Question number 17. A copper rod is heated at one end. Which statement describes how heat transfer occurs in the copper? The answer is, the copper is a conductor and has therefore free electrons. When one end of the copper is heated, the free electrons present on that end gain kinetic energy, and those energetic free electrons move from the hotter end to the cooler end. And the answer is option D. Energetic free electrons move from the hotter end to the cooler end. Question number 18. Which heat transfer process do not require a medium? And the answer is, only in radiation process the heat or thermal waves pass through air or vacuum. Question number 19. The list shows 4 physical properties: mass, resistance, voltage and volume. How many of these properties can be used to measure temperature? And the answer is, the temperature is a physical property that varies with heat supplied or heat removed from the body. Temperature is thus a variable quantity, and to measure a variable physical quantity through a constant physical quantity, it is not possible. Mass is a constant physical quantity, so it cannot be used to measure the variable physical quantity. Whereas resistance, voltage and volume are variable physical quantities. And the answer is option C. Question number 20. The diagram shows a clinical thermometer. Which factor affects the sensitivity of the thermometer? And the answer is, the bore contains the mercury that expands when temperature rises and contracts when temperature drops, and the diameter of the bore affects the sensitivity of the thermometer. And the answer is option B. Question number 21. Which statement about the thermal expansion of solids, liquid and gases is correct? And the answer is, gases expand more than the liquids and the liquids expand more than the solids. The answer is option C. Liquids expand more than solids but less than the gases. Question number 22. Which row describes the shape of a liquid and the arrangement of its molecules? What is the heat capacity of a body? The answer is, the shape of a liquid is not fixed. It takes shapes of container. The arrangement of molecules in liquid are not regular and these move in random direction. So the answer is option C. Question number 23. Air in a sealed container of fixed volume is heated. The pressure of the air increases. How do the molecules of air cause this increase in pressure? And the answer is, when air in a sealed container of fixed volume is heated, the molecules move faster and hit the container more often. So the number of collisions per second increases as pressure is force per unit area. More collisions means more force, and the pressure is force per unit area. The pressure will increase due to more collisions. The answer is option C. Question number 24. A ray of red light in air enters a semiconductor block. Which diagram shows the partial reflection and the refraction of the ray? What is reflection? Reflection, the angle of incidence in reflection, the angle of incidence of an incident ray is equal to the angle of reflection of the reflected ray, and both the incident and the reflected ray lie in the same medium. Whereas in refraction, when a ray of light is escaping or refracting into air from glass or from one medium to other medium, but in this case it is escaping from glass into air, then the refracted ray will bend away from the normal. The reason is, the refractive index of the air is the least, and the speed of the ray of light will increase in the air, and that is why it bends away from the normal. So option D. In option D, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection, and the refracted ray is making a bigger angle than the angle of incidence. So the answer is the option D. Question number 25. An object of height 1.5 centimeter is placed in front of a converging lens of focal length 2 centimeter. What is the linear magnification produced by the lens? The height of the object is 1.5 centimeter. So if you measure the height of the image it is 3 centimeter, or in other words, it can be seen from the graph that the height of the object is 7 small squares while that of the image is 14 squares. So magnification is image height over object height. So magnification is 14 over 7 is equal to 2, or magnification is equal to 3 centimeter over 1.5 centimeter is equal to 2. So the answer is option A. Question number 26. In which optical instrument is the distance between the object and the lens less than the focal length of the lens? The answer is, the distance between the object and the lens is less than the focal length of the lens in magnifying glass. The correct answer is option B. Question number 27. Which two waves are components of the electromagnetic spectrum? And the answer is, sound waves, water waves and ultrasound waves are longitudinal waves, whereas X-rays and microwaves are transverse waves and are components of the electromagnetic spectrum. And the answer is option D, X-rays and microwaves. Question number 28. The sound from a ship is reflected by a cliff. An echo is heard by a sailor on the ship 4 seconds after the sound is made. The speed of sound in air is 320 meters per second. How far from the cliff from the ship? Okay, the answer is, echo time is given as 4 seconds. The one-way time is 1/2 of the echo time. So time is 2 seconds, one-way time is 2 seconds. The velocity of sound in air is 320 meters per second, and we have to find the distance d. We know that d is equal to velocity multiplied with time. So 320 multiplied with 2 is equal to 640 meter, and the answer is option B. Question number 29. Students are asked for the uses of ultrasound. 3 suggested uses for ultrasound are given. Which suggestions are correct? Okay, the answer is, the uses of ultrasound are: number 1, cleaning jewelry; number 2, obtaining an image of an unborn baby. It is also called prenatal scanning, and the answer is option B. Question number 30. End X of a metal rod attracts the north pole of a compass needle. Which statement about the rod is correct? And the answer is, copper is not attracted by the magnet. End X of a metal rod attracts the north pole of a compass needle. The metal rod is made of steel that is not initially magnetized. So the correct answer is option C. It is made of steel that is not initially magnetized. Question number 31. A positively charged rod is held close to an insulated metal sphere. The sphere is earthed as shown. The earth connection is removed and then the rod is removed. Which diagram shows the charges on the sphere after the rod is removed? And the answer is, positive charge is earthed when the rod is near to the metal sphere, and the negative charges are uniformly distributed on the metal sphere when the earth connection and the positive charge are removed afterwards. And the correct answer is option C. Question number 32. The diagram shows a circuit. The ammeter has 4 different range settings. Which range setting gives a reading near the midpoint of the range? And the answer is, Two equal resistances of 5k ohm are connected in parallel. Their equivalent resistance is therefore half, that is 2.5k. By Ohm's law, we know that I is equal to V over R. So, voltage is 12 volt and the equivalent resistance is 2.5k. So, the total I current flowing through the circuit is 4.8 milliampere, and that total current 4.8 milliampere will be measured by the ampere meter. So, 0 to 10 ampere milliampere setting gives a reading near the midpoint, that is 0 plus 10 over 2 is equal to 5 milliampere is the midpoint of the range. The answer is option B. Question number 33. In which example is the current 1 ampere? And the answer is, for option A, I is equal to Q over T and that is 1 ampere. For option B, I is equal to P over V and that is 10 milliampere. For option C, I is equal to V over R and that is 2 over 0.5 is 4 amperes. For option D, in series circuit current remains the same regardless the number of resistances. So, option B, C and D are all incorrect, and the option A, that is I is equal to Q over T and that is equal to 0.1 over 100 multiplied with 0.001 and that is 1 ampere. So, the answer is option A. Question number 34. Which graph shows the relationship between current and voltage for a filament lamp? And the answer is, initially the current in the filament lamp is large. As it is heated up, its resistance increases and the value of the current flowing through the filament lamp decreases. Option A is the answer. Question number 35. A 100-watt lamp is switched on for 5 hours each day for 3 weeks. The cost of 1 unit of electricity is $0.24. How much does it cost to run the lamp for this time? And the answer is, we know that 100 watt is equal to 0.1 kilowatt. Power consumption in kilowatt hour is equal to 0.1 kilowatt multiplied with 5 hour multiplied with 21 days, and that is 10.5 kilowatt hour. We also know that 1 unit is equal to 1 kilowatt hour. So, the cost is 10.5 units multiplied with $0.24 and that is $2.52, and the answer is option C. Question number 36. A 3-pin mains plug contains a fuse. A device with double insulation has a cable connected to the plug. Which part of the plug is not connected to the cable? And the answer is, live pin and fuse of mains plug are connected to live wire, whereas neutral pin of mains plug is connected to neutral wire. Earth pin of the mains plug is not connected to the cable. So, the answer is option A. Question number 37. A trolley carrying a strong magnet rolls down a ramp at constant speed. It passes through a coil as shown. An electromotive force EMF is induced in the coil. A graph of the EMF against time is plotted. The experiment is repeated with different coils and with a steeper ramp. The trolley moves at a greater constant speed on the steeper ramp. Which graph is produced using the coil with the least number of turns and the steeper ramp? All graphs are drawn to the same scale. And the answer is, for least number of turns, the amplitude of the induced EMF is minimum. The minimum EMF is shown in figure A and in figure C. For greater speed of the trolley, the frequency of the induced voltage is more. again I am okay, the answer again for least number of turns, the magnitude of the induced EMF is minimum, and the minimum magnitude we can see in either in option A in option C. So, either A is correct or C is correct. But for greater speed of the trolley, the frequency of the induced voltage is more, and that more frequency we can see in option C. So, the answer is option C. In option A, the frequency is lower. Question number 38. A student uses a transformer to light a filament lamp using a 230 volt AC supply. The lamp has a maximum voltage rating of 6 volt. What happens when the circuit is switched on? And the answer is the primary number of turns are 300, the secondary number of turns are 20, the primary voltage is 230 volt, the secondary voltage or the output voltage is Np over Ns is equal to Vp over Vs. So, Vs is 230 multiplied with 15 over 300. So, the secondary voltage or the voltage at the output of the transformer is 11.5 volt. So, output voltage of the transformer is 11.5 volt, whereas rating of lamp is 6 volt. Rating of lamp is lower and the available output voltage is higher. In this case, as the rating of lamp is less than the feed voltage, the lamp will go out. Initially, it will lights up brightly, and then eventually it will goes out. So, option D is the answer. Question number 39. What does an alpha particle consist of? And the answer is alpha particles always have 2 protons and 2 neutrons, and the answer is option B. Question number 40. The count rate from a radioactive source falls from 4000 counts per minute to 500 counts per minute in 72 minutes. What is the half life of the source? And the answer is initial count rate is 4000. After one half life cycle, the count rate will become half, that is 4000 divided by 2 and is equal to 2000. After another one half life cycle, that is after 2 half life cycles, the count rate will be 2000 divided by 2 and that is 1000. After another half life cycle, that is after 3 half life cycles, the count rate is 1000 divided by 2 and that is 500. So, it means 3 half life cycles is equal to 500 count rate, and also the 3 half life cycles is equal to 72 minutes, because 500 count rate is when the time is 72 minutes. So, 3 half life cycle is 72 minutes. That means 1 half life cycle is 72 over 3, which is equal to 24 minutes. Hence, the 1 half life cycle of the source is 24 minutes, and the answer is option D.